I mean, it feels like we blinked 2023 away. I spent the past 2.5 weeks traveling in extreme weather conditions. Conditions that I'm not even accustomed to. It felt like I was walking through a hurricane. Yeah. This is the last video of the year, and I did come up with some conclusions. For one, watch ranking videos are pointless because I'm going to speak of based on demand for value and what holds it, etc, etc. There's other factors, man, but when it comes to really, truly what you desire, what you like to put on your wrist, it is your preference, it is you only, right? So hence it's subjective, and I don't really believe in these videos. But what I did want to highlight is 5 watches that I think right now is absolutely the best time to consider them. Don't buy them, just think about them if you are in the market for picking up something. Plus 5 key messages that are for your self-betterment that I am personally applying to myself. I'm not getting all philosophical here, but I just think at first I need some coffee, man. Coffee in Europe sucks, bro. So the main topic, of course, we're going to look at Rolex. When you talk about Rolex, you have to go peak, top, pinnacle, man, and that is the Rolex Daytona. Doesn't matter what variation you get it in, whether two-tone, steel, all gold, platinum maybe, you can't go wrong with the Rolex Daytona. And the one I'm getting at specifically is the John Mayer. This is the 116508 with the green dial. It was not made for John Mayer, but it did pick the name John Mayer after the Houdinki John Mayer video. Of course, it is very famous. I think it's one of the best videos they've done, actually. To this date, I still go back to this video from time to time, where John Mayer picked up the 116508 and said, this is going to be special.
So I believe if you're out there and you care about what my picks are, the green dial gold Daytona.
That's it. That's all what you had to say. I mean, this is the power of John Mayer as a watch collector being in this watch ecosystem as well. You know, just puts it out there, boom. Nuts. Impossible to get. They are at their lowest price point right now when it comes to that premium. I've never seen them that low. If the budget is not an issue, then this is something you could potentially consider. Actually, any Daytona is good, as I said earlier. So even the 116509s in their various dog colors, the blue and the gray, I think it's great. I think if you just want to go gold, you might really want to be honest and genuine with yourself. Why white gold? Because you hear a lot that white gold looks like stainless steel, it's just a tad shinier. You can't say I'm gonna get this because it's less flashy and then get a steel one, you know? For me, this is confusion, right? Like, if you want to go gold, you might as well go all the way to its flashiest form, and that is yellow gold. And I think it's still a bit subtle on this 116508. I think it's a great watch, and I think it absolutely justifies that little premium that it comes behind. And the self-key betterment message here for you is that the thin line between your current life and the life you want to go to is one key word. It's called focus. Do one thing at a time. 1% of something will get you much further than doing 5 things with 20% focus. It's really the key message here for your self-betterment. I've been focusing on myself, so I've been working out actively like no tomorrow. Actually, a little bit more than active. I've been working out every day. The second one on the list is Lange and Sohne. I mean, this is a watchman's watch. When you talk Lange, you're not even talking watches anymore. You're talking taste and preference here to the fullest. Like, you don't care about anything else. But I'll go ahead and say it anyways. The quality that Lange and Sohne produces out of Glashütte, man, is by far, to me, much more superior than the one you would get with Patek or any other brand, man. The Lange one, right? So I had the privilege of picking up one. When you look at the finishing, the case, everything about this watch, you flip the back of it, is just mesmerizing. How could you not fall in love with this watch? And it doesn't even have to be the Lange one, even the Saxonias, right? So I've done a video where there were picks available and I had to kind of channel it. This is Lange for you, and this is the quality they produce. It just gets you to reflect on things. And the key message for self-betterment here is, instead of looking at the negative and extracting that all the time, try to look at, you know, a set of questions that will help you identify the good or the positive in something. For instance, ask yourself these questions. What am I in control of? What can I do better today? And most importantly, how can I improve on? Self-reflection will get you to develop a problem-solving mindset, and that's the one you want for 2024. Reflect. So the third watch is the Tudor Black Bay 54. This is hands down the only Tudor I've kept. Really like the 37 case size, the thinner case. And in case you're thinking about value retention on it, like you would be able to get as close to retail as possible if you're trading up for something else, if that's part of what you're thinking, right? Like you want to experiment, but you're not so sure, but you're almost there. I say go for it, man. Vintage design cues with a modern twist that you will still appreciate today. So old is gold. And my segue into the self-betterment message is that small changes over time, when achieved and compounded, they lead to big differences. So maybe that's what you want to do. Pick one thing. It could be a book, read a page, basketball, sports, or it could be even starting a YouTube channel and making a video just like this one. The idea is to start small and incrementally see that value over time. So that's what you want to do in 2024 until you see that big change. And when you look back at it, you say, oh, wow, I'm glad I did this, right? The fourth watch is the 56 Vacheron, and this is a very special emotional connection that I have with the brand, but also the 56 in the stainless steel bracelet is not something you see every day. Conversation starter in that sense, because when people look at it, that rice bead bracelet, the case thickness, you would glance at it and you'll think you're talking Patek Philippe, right? That's the first, if you know watches, you might take that guess. But it's not. It's a Vacheron, and it's a 56, and it's in stainless steel. And yes, it has a Cartier-based movement, but we're talking Vacheron quality here. And this is the most entry price point you can pay for a Vacheron, if you can find it. And if you find them used, because they don't have that much demand, you could actually be paying close to retail, if not a little bit less. I suggest if you see it, experiment with it, try it on. Maybe it'd be the one for you. Clean dial with a small tiny date window. It doesn't make you feel lazy or unorganized, because I know you and I are unorganized as of this moment. And hopefully this watch would attribute basically a self-betterment improvement for 2024. That's to say, it's clean and it doesn't overwhelm, and it gives you the mindset where you can set deadlines and schedule things in your life and actually action them, right? You list things down and you crack on with them one by one. This is what this watch dial tells you, is that there is room for you and I to be organized. I don't know what I'm saying here, but you know, there's a connection there. The VTNR is by far one of the most worn steel Rolexes that I recently acquired. So the story is that I bought this watch in the aftermarket post waiting for my AD to get it to me. A year and a half later, I didn't get it. I was like, you know what, like that closed the door. There was that rumor of it being discontinued. I went and topped the premium and picked it from the aftermarket. It was an oyster bracelet, and little did I know, 4 months later, my AD called me and said, this is your Jubilee VTNR. And I was like, oh shit, I feel like an idiot. I should have waited. So I did the premium and I bought it from the aftermarket. I was like, yeah, this is the cop that I want, because I really like that watch, because I think it's unique. I mean, it's not new or foreign to Rolex to make crowns on the opposite side. We've seen that in the past. The reference 6542. Highly important reference, possibly one of the most unique reference. And at the time, Rolex at that point in time was known to be a company that will put these oddballs every now and then. This is 38mm case GMT. Can you imagine that? Like that is, I mean, first of all, 37, 38 is the most perfect size, right? So it came, it was a hit for that year, it's a hit today. You can't find them, you can't get them. So I went in with that mindset and I said, you know what? This VTNR is going to be the revival of these rare pieces that Rolex puts out every now and then. And they were forgotten, like what Edgar Allan Poe said. Years of love have been forgotten in the hatred of a minute. By this, I'm concluding this video. I'm concluding also the year by sending this message out to you. Happy holidays to you, your loved ones, wishing you a successful start to 2024. These 5 things that I have passed on for self-betterment, if applied and applied correctly, will hopefully get you to a very successful start in 2024. Until I see you next year, have fun, happy holidays, Merry Christmas if you celebrate it, and Happy New Year's.